Hey everyone, this is Chris here with Daily Motor, and today we've got the infotainment tour and demo on the 2022 Hyundai Ioniq 5 and its 12.3-inch touchscreen infotainment system. We'll also take a brief look at this also 12.3-inch digital gauge display, or cluster, whatever you'd like to call it. But before we get started with all of the tech in this car, let's hop out, take a quick walk around it just so you know what we're on about. I am actually going to leave this door slightly ajar so it doesn't beep, because I do have the key in my pocket. And we're actually inside for today's test because I have the Ioniq 5 plugged in to the wall. This is a fully electric car, and if you want to learn more about it and its funky styling, and I just got home from a road trip in this car, so we'll have a lot of links in the description to other videos that we have filmed on this pretty neat new car from Hyundai. So look forward to that. But for now, we'll go ahead and hop in and see what these infotainment systems are like. Pretty similar, honestly, to Hyundai systems that we already know, but there are just a few little differences, a few little updates for the Ioniq 5, and really just unique things for the fact that this is an EV that we'll go ahead and take a look at today. And I want to mention before we even get started, there are no Hyundai badges in this interior. You'll notice on the steering wheel, we just have 4 little pixels. So overall, from a styling standpoint, from the steering wheel, the screens, everything, if you sat in this car two years ago, you'd have no idea what you were sitting in. I mean, there's just nothing to tell you in here what you're in. So I think that that's kind of neat. So let's go ahead and just take a quick look here at this cluster. So we're not going to be able to really mess with it while the car is charging. You can see on the right hand side here, we have our display showing us that we're at exactly 50% charge, and we're plugged into a level 2 charger right now, so it's going to take about 5 hours to get up to 100%. I just figured I would plug it in while I was filming this video and make good use of my time. One thing we have here on the steering wheel, we have our drive mode selector. You can see how that changes in the cluster here. You've got eco mode, normal mode, and sport mode. It doesn't really change the way that the cluster looks, so we won't mess around with that too much. So this is what the actual cluster looks like when you're driving. You can see it defaults back to showing you your charge here. But yeah, so that is honestly just about it. You can see you've got a couple other settings here, power distribution. But that's really it. The cluster doesn't do too much, and I kind of like that. It just kind of shows you what's going on. And everything else happens over here in the infotainment display. So as you can see here, as with every Hyundai, we have a really nice, just kind of chill screen here for the Ioniq 5. While you're driving, it still displays this. This isn't just because I'm charging. It gives you all of the normal things: the song you're listening to, outside temperature, your profile, the time, and then your very calm display of a map over on the right-hand side. Unique here to the Ioniq 5 or any Hyundai EV, we have a car in the middle with a charge percentage on it. You can see we just went up to 51%, as well as your range, 118 miles there. So I really have always enjoyed these calm screens on Hyundais, Genesis, Kia. They all do a really nice job of giving you somewhere you can have your screen if you don't have your phone projection, or even if you do have phone projection on, where it's just easy on the eyes and nice to look at. One swipe to the right and it brings us to our first set of icons. Another swipe to the right and it brings us to our second set of icons. And on the top left-hand corner here, we have a home button that will take you, well, back home. And then the 3 lines here that allow you to turn the display off, edit your icons, or take a look at your user manual. So let's go ahead and just dive right into this EV menu, because this is unique, of course, to the Ioniq 5 or any EV that you may have. It's going to show you the closest charge location. As you can see, there is one 2.3 miles away, so that's pretty neat. You can also see charge level after transfer on here, and well, that's kind of about it. But it's nice to have unique screens in here in the infotainment to guide you through EV driving and whatnot. I just did my first road trip in this car, which was my first road trip ever in an EV, and it really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. In fact, it was quite nice. Here's our climate menu, pretty much everything that you can do down here on this physical panel, but they give you the option to also operate some of the settings here in the infotainment. As you can see, you can use the screen here to change your temperature, or you can go down here to this physical panel and do it down here. I don't always understand the point of having this infotainment climate thing when you already have a physical climate panel. Here's our map for our navigation. You can see how quick that reacts, pretty dang fast. And here you can do all of your waypoints, set destinations, whatever you'd like to do. And here we have our heated and ventilated seats. This is something that I don't believe you can do from the panel. You actually have to do this in the infotainment. So there is that option. Kind of wish they would have just given some buttons down here for those, but whatever. Navigation menu, similar to what I just showed you in the map menu. You can just set your destination. It'll take you to the nearest Hyundai dealer if you need. Valet mode, of course, if your car is getting valeted. And we're in guest mode right now, so we can't actually set that. Quiet mode, radio and media is played only in the front seat. So this is so if you have a child or something in the back seat and you still want to listen to your music but allow them to sleep, you are able to do that here with quiet mode. Got your phone menu here, which will take you to your phone projection if you have a phone plugged in, and I have my iPhone plugged in right now, so that is what you are witnessing. HD radio data will give you traffic and Doppler radar. Voice memos, just kind of like an iPhone, you can save voice memos to the car if you so desire. Settings menu, this takes you to a whole another area of icons or apps, if you will. And in here you can really just adjust all of your settings, navigation, sound, voice recognition, your screen layout and theme. You can go from white to black. The white is very hard on the eyes. I'll give you a look here. It's not really my favorite. It's kind of modern and different looking, but I just roll with it in black mode because it's way easier to look at, especially when you're driving at night. What does this do? Those are just all of your button settings. Vehicle settings. In here you can set your ambient lighting and all sorts of other things for your driver assist. This car has a ton of driver assist, and if you're curious to learn more about that, make sure to check out either our range test or our road trip video. That covers all of those. Drive mode settings, adjust your heads-up display here. Cluster settings. You can see we have different themes here. I'll go back into POV so you guys can check those out. There's there's theme A, there's theme B, and there is theme C. I've been rolling with theme C. I think I like it the best. Also, let me turn climate off because that is kind of loud. I do apologize if that was bothering you. Let's go to the lights menu so you all can see the different ambient lighting. It is kind of bright in the garage, so I don't know how well this is really going to show up on camera. I'll focus over here on this right door panel, and we'll go through just a few of the colors. Here is yellow and red, purple, and then you can also go in here and set a custom color. You have an entire color wheel to pick from. As you can see, there's pink, red, yellow. Do whatever you want in there. Of course, we also just have white, if that's what you prefer. I was rolling with orchid green earlier, but I think we'll switch to violet because I'll want it to be that for my night drive. Okay, so that's pretty much as far as the settings go. I don't want to bore you with just going through all of the settings and showing you that. Radio tab here. This is quite important to Charlie. And, well, we do have a tune little switch down here. I'll show you this in POV. I don't think my other camera is going to pick it up. But you are able to tune here from this little switch, which is nice. If you have a passenger in the car and they want to switch the radio station, they're able to do that easily here with this switch. So this is the same no matter if you're on Sirius, AM, FM radio, whatever, it all works the same. Media here, this should just take you back to, oh, I guess you have a choice. Sounds of nature, that's something that we haven't really talked about in one of these Hyundai infotainment reviews, but it's kind of like an Easter egg in the infotainment, and you're able to listen to these different sounds, so we'll go through those real quick. snowy village was sounding a little glitchy there. But anyways, that'll pretty much wrap it up as far as just this basic infotainment goes. So now let's go ahead and take a look at Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And of course, we'll go into Apple CarPlay first because that is what I already have lined in. No wireless CarPlay that I know about on this car. It did not prompt me for it, so I just have to assume that it does not have wireless CarPlay. But sometimes I like wired CarPlay. The only weird thing about this wired CarPlay is that it wires in way down here under the dash. And it's a good thing I have a very long cord, and it means that it isn't too much of an issue. But line-in is in a super weird spot. We have 2 USB ports down here also, but they're only for charging. So kind of strange, but whatever. You can see how fast our Apple CarPlay reacts here. Pretty good. Let's take a look at Waze. Reacts pretty quickly. Take a look at Spotify here. Nice. Let's see the song that I'm listening to currently. Okay, so that's Apple CarPlay. We do have the wide view here with 5 apps across and 2 down. If you want to get back to your normal Hyundai infotainment, of course, you just click the Hyundai icon there, and that takes you out of Apple CarPlay. It does take up the whole screen. I think they did a pretty dang good job with this, and it looks quite nice. Here's Google Maps. Ooh, reacts super quick. I've had 0 lag with this infotainment, so that is pretty neat. Okay, we're going to go ahead and swap this iPhone out for an Android, so stand by while I go ahead and make that switch. All right, Android Auto is connected here, and as you can see, this is where having a shorter cord is a little bit inconvenient, because this Chinese phone that Charlie gave me to do the Android Auto test barely fits up here into the cup holders, and you would have to have it down here if you did want to use it while driving your Ioniq 5. Anyways, here we go to Android Auto. As you can see, we don't have a full screen here. It does take up about 60% of the screen. And as always, it's taken its sweet time to boot up and whatnot. But here you go. Here's Android Auto. It actually looks pretty decent on the screen. It's been pretty low res with some of the last infotainment systems that I've tested, but it looks like it looks pretty decent here. We'll take a look at YouTube Music. Reacts pretty quickly. Back home here. And yeah, there is all of your apps there for Android Auto. I mean, it's all right. I would honestly say that it's one of the better looking Android Auto displays that I've seen, but still no full screen. But I don't think that's a Hyundai thing. I think that's an Android Auto thing. So if you have an Android, bad luck. You don't get the full screen, but that is okay. Hyundai emblem here takes you, of course, back to home. Well, cool, guys. That's going to wrap it up for us today and our very brief tour here of the Ioniq 5 infotainment system. I've got to say, I'm super impressed with this car. Hyundai does a really good job at just making things simple. Nothing's overcomplicated. Nothing is really you never have to scratch your head about anything. It works very smoothly. There's no lag. And honestly, my only real complaint here is that the heated seat controls are in the infotainment instead of being on the climate control panel. And that's honestly just a silly little petty complaint. And otherwise, I really do like this infotainment. It works great across the board. Hyundai, Kia, Genesis, they all have really nice infotainment systems. And this Ioniq 5 is no exception to that rule. So that'll wrap it up. As I said, if you're curious to learn more about the Ioniq 5, there will be links in the description to other videos on this car. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been Chris here with Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.